So you've got a new AV receiver and want to get your home theatre up and running. Let us show you how. When you first open the box, inside you will find your Sony receiver, calibration mic, remote control and paperwork, including the instruction manual. Before you begin, ensure to disconnect the AC power cord from the mains. Next, you need to check that the impedance of your speakers fall within the rated impedance range of the receiver. Speakers usually come with an impedance of 4, 8 or 16 ohms. The ohm rating of the speaker should be equal to or greater than the ohm rating of the receiver. Next, carefully strip 10 to 15 mm of the wire insulation from the speaker cable. Then tightly twist the wire strands together. Match the polarities, the positive and negative, between the receiver and the speakers. Check you are connecting the correct speaker cables to the corresponding terminals on the receiver. Insert the speaker wire securely into the terminal, ensuring metal-on-metal contact, then tighten the terminal connection. Speaker position is very important, and depending on which receiver you own, will dictate how many speakers and subwoofers you can have, as well as the sound formats you can utilize. The optimum sound is produced by simulating ideal speaker positions and angles. For the best audio experience, set the height of your speaker's tweeter at the same height as your ears when you are sat in your preferred viewing position. A subwoofer does not emit a particularly directional signal, so you can place it where you like, although it's best to avoid corners and against walls, as this can affect the sound. The classic setup for front stereo sound consists of a front left and front right speaker at 30 degrees either side of your preferred viewing position, whilst being 1.5 to 3 meters away from the TV, and a subwoofer. After you have installed and connected your speakers, arrange your channel setup by pressing Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Setup, then Speaker Settings. Select Speaker Pattern and choose 2.1 channel. A 5.1 channel system consists of a center speaker directly in front of your preferred viewing position, front left and front right speakers at 30-degree angles, surround left and surround right speakers at 100 to 120-degree angles, and a subwoofer. Once you have installed and connected your speakers, select your channel setup by pressing Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Setup, select Speaker Settings, then Speaker Pattern, and choose 5.1 channel. A 5.1.2 channel system, which utilizes Dolby Atmos or DTS:X, has two setup options. The first is to install overhead speakers directly into your ceiling. When positioning your overhead speakers, place them slightly in front of your preferred viewing position at an angle of roughly 80 degrees. After you have installed and connected your speakers, press Home on your receiver remote to configure your channel setup. Scroll to Setup, then Speaker Settings, select Speaker Pattern, choose 5.1 channel and then select TM. Alternatively, you can buy Dolby Atmos enabled speakers. These bounce sound off the ceiling to your preferred viewing position. Both of these options create a three-dimensional soundscape. After you have installed and connected your speakers, press Home on your receiver remote to configure your channel setup. Scroll to Setup, then Speaker Settings, select Speaker Pattern, choose 5.1 channel and select FD for front-enabled speakers or SRD for back-enabled speakers. A 5.1 channel with Zone 2 speaker connection setup is to have two speakers in a separate room. This allows you to have a Blu-ray playing in the main room, while simultaneously playing music in a second room. To set up the Zone 2 option, press Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Setup, select Speaker Settings, and scroll to Surround Back Speakers Assign and choose Zone 2. Note you can only change surround back speaker assign if the speaker pattern is not set to the surround back and height/overhead speakers option. To control your Zone 2 speakers, press Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Zone Control. Set Zone 2 power to On. Select Zone 2 input. Set your desired input source. And finally select Zone 2 volume to adjust the volume. If you want to listen to the same sound as the main zone, select Source. A 5.1 channel with biamp connection can be set up by connecting the speaker's surround back/height terminals to an already connected speaker, giving the woofer and tweeter their own dedicated channels of amplification for a bigger, more powerful sound. To set up your bi-amplifier connection, press Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Setup. Select Speaker Settings. Scroll to Surround Back Speakers Assign and choose Bi-amp. Note you can only change surround back speaker assign if the speaker pattern is not set to the surround back and height/overhead speakers option. A 5.1 channel with front B speaker system can be set up by connecting the speaker's surround back/height receiver terminals to extra front speakers to double your sound output in the same room. To set up your front B connection, press Home on the receiver remote, scroll to Setup, then to Speaker Settings, and set surround back speakers assign to front B. Note you can only change surround back speaker assign if the speaker pattern is not set to the surround back and height/overhead speakers option. A 7.1 channel system consists of a center speaker, which should be directly in front of your preferred viewing position, front left and front right speakers at 30-degree angles, surround left and surround right speakers at 100 to 120-degree angles, and surround back left and surround back right speakers at the same angle, relative to your surround left and surround right speakers and a subwoofer. After you have installed and connected your speakers, select your channel setup by pressing Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Setup, then Speaker Settings. Select Speaker Patterns and choose 7.1 channel. Now that you have your speakers connected to your receiver and in position, it's time to auto-calibrate. The auto-calibration will check the connection between each speaker and the receiver, adjust the speaker level, measure the distance of each speaker from your preferred viewing position, measure the speaker size, and measure the EQ and phase frequency characteristics. To perform the auto-calibration, first plug the calibration mic into the input on the front of the receiver. Place the calibration microphone at your preferred viewing position, at the same height as your ears. For the best setup, remove obstructions between the speaker and your preferred viewing position. Disconnect any headphones and ensure the environment is as quiet as possible. To perform the auto-calibration, press Home on the receiver remote. Scroll to Setup, then to Speaker Settings, and select Auto-calibration. If you're using height/overhead speakers, select Change Surround Back Speaker Assign and click Height Speakers. Select your speaker pattern and which type of height/overhead speakers you have, and input the height of your ceiling. Confirm the instructions on screen and select Start. The measurement starts after 5 seconds and takes around 30 seconds to complete. A test tone is output from each speaker. When the measurement ends, a beep sounds and the screen switches. You will be given the option to save, retry or discard. Select as appropriate. To set the speaker relocation/phantom surround back, press Home on the receiver remote, scroll to Setup, then to Speaker Settings and select Speaker Relocation/phantom surround back. This allows you to enjoy a surround sound effect acoustically equivalent to a 7.1.2 channel setup. There are 3 options available. Type A simulates as if the surround back speakers have been placed on the back wall. and the front high or top middle speakers sound like they're directly aligned with the front speakers. Type B simulates that the 4 surround speakers have been placed at identical angles, and the front high or top middle speakers sound as if they're directly aligned with the front speakers. The third option is off. The speaker positions are not relocated. Always perform the auto calibration before using the speaker relocation/phantom surround back function. There are 4 options for calibration type: full flat, which trims each speaker to produce a flat response; engineer, which replicates the sound used in Sony's standard listening room, where new products are developed and fine-tuned; front reference, which uses the front speakers as a reference and matches the rest to them; and off. There are 2 options for calibration matching: yes, to expand the sweet spot for your viewing position, allowing a more natural sound; no, to apply the results of the auto calibration directly to the speakers. There are other audio options available on your Sony receiver. HDMI supports a much higher bandwidth than optical connections do, and supports lossless audio formats. The BD/DVD and SA-CD/CD HDMI inputs have better sound quality. So when you need higher sound quality, connect your device to these HDMI in jacks and select them as the input. Bluetooth is a wireless data transfer connection that allows you to play music from a Bluetooth-enabled device or listen to your receiver through headphones without using a cabled connection. To set up Bluetooth, press Home on the receiver remote, scroll to Setup, then to Bluetooth Settings, and select Bluetooth mode. Here you will find the options Receiver, Transmit, and Off. Digital coaxial cables often use gold-plated RCA connectors and mid-level cable shielding. Toslink uses fiber optics cables and is more immune to interference than coaxial. It can support some surround sound formats. Phono is a basic 2-channel audio cable utilizing a 3.5mm jack standard plug.